not a fisherman, nor will I ever become one, but it was a fisherman who taught me a valuable lesson about how we judge ourselves. Let's have ourselves a Pocket Sized Pep Talk because I'd love to share that lesson with you.
A Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
Fishing fascinates me. My dad loved to fish. My nephew Matt loves to fish. Quite frankly, I've never really understood what's so interesting about sitting or standing around for hours at a time with a pole in your hand, but I learned a valuable lesson from a fisherman. Some time ago, I was wandering around the banks of the Potomac River, and I came across a fisherman. He seemed happy enough, sitting there with his pole in the water. I smiled and instinctively asked him the only question I knew to ask a fisherman. "Did you catch anything?" He politely smiled and nodded rather ambivalently. I had no idea what that nod meant, and my brain began to swirl with more questions like, "So, did you catch anything?" Or, "How many fish did you catch?" And maybe, "How big was the fish you caught?" I wanted to ask these questions because, in a sense, I was trying to judge whether he was successful at what he was doing or not. Still curious, I tried to sneak a peek into his bucket, where I assumed he was keeping the fish he may or may not have caught. Unfortunately, the lid was covered, and I couldn't really see into the bucket, so I shrugged my shoulders and began to leave. He must have sensed that I wasn't satisfied with his response because he called out to me. He told me something I've never forgotten. He said, "You want to know how many fish I've caught because you think the more fish I catch, the happier I'll be. For a fisherman, one has nothing to do with the other. I'm out here on a beautiful morning among spectacular nature along the banks of a magnificent river. I'm having a wonderful day because I love to fish, not because of what's in the bucket. If that's not good enough for you, move the lid and look in the bucket." So I did. His response made me think about my triathlon and marathon days. It took a lot of work to get ready for those races, and it was a tremendous challenge to complete them. For some of those races, it took years of training to be able to even participate in them. People who have never run a race would ask me what my time was. People who actually did run in races asked only one question: did you finish? This concept of defining success by your goals and not the goals of others translates to much of what we do. Sometimes it's pursuing a career that doesn't generate a lot of money, but we find personally fulfilling and satisfying. Sometimes it's pursuing a client who may not end up working with us, but for whom we complete a proposal that is on time and to the best of our ability. And sometimes it's delivering a presentation to an audience that just isn't very responsive, but we know that we prepared diligently and brought our A-game delivery skills. There's so many scenarios that seem to trap us into judging our success by the outcome rather than effort. These scenarios seem to focus on what we cannot control rather than what we can control. These scenarios often define something we do by how conventional thinking judges our accomplishments, rather than the joy we feel simply doing something we love. Now, would you still like to know what I saw in that fisherman's bucket? If you do, listen to this podcast again.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.